my name's R.V. Charles Yates, but they call me Shorty. And the reason they call me Shorty is because they called my dad Short. And then when I was being born, the little nurse came out and said, "Here's little Shorty." And it just kind of stuck. But my grandma and grandpa, they started this back in 1931. And I guess back then that's when they were all running around staking it out, you know, and everybody kind of had their quarter, and there was a house on every quarter. And it's the same place that we live today. My grandfather was, he was good at everything. That's back when you had to figure stuff out. He taught himself how to weld, and he could fix anything, and he could fabricate anything, and he could do anything. I don't know if he was around here his whole life, or if they came here in '31 when they started the family. My dad can tell you more about that. Pappy, I got the same name as R.V. Yates, but Pappy, that's what we called him, was Pappy. Everybody called him Pappy. He didn't talk much, but when he did, and he was always kind, strong man, but and he had a sweet tooth. I think I get that from him. I eat a lot of sweets, but he was just an amazing person. He loved the land, and he was strong, and a lot of that fence that he built 60 years ago is still standing, you know, with the old hedge posts and stuff. And he did all that. I mean, I've got big tractors and equipment that I do all that stuff now with, and different tools. And he did all that by hand. And my grandma, I'm pretty sure her maiden name was Hickle, Etta Hickle. And then they were young, or grandma was young. I think she was only 13 or 14 when they got together. But Pappy loved Grandma, but Grandma he liked to chew tobacco, and he couldn't chew it in the house. Grandma wouldn't let him chew it in the house. So he always came out into the shop, which is the shop that we're in now. I mean, this was built in 1960, and he had his kind of same way it is now with all the cats, and he'd come out and he'd just work on stuff, and he'd work on the equipment in the winter, and he would pull all the wheels off and pack the bearings, and I kind of do the same thing. I just kind of learned from my grandpa. Of course, with the lift and all the different things, I got all kinds of tools to help me, and you know, Pappy did it the hard way. But my grandma, Etta, amazing cook. Of course, that's back whenever, you know, they used to cook all the time. I mean, all day. They would cook all day because they would get 3 squares, and oh, she was an amazing cook. And she loved baseball. And she would watch baseball all the time. And you couldn't go in the house when she was watching her baseball. She'd kick you right out. And you couldn't go in the house when she was cooking. She'd kick you right out. Or Grandpa, Pappy would, had a garden. And it was an incredible garden. I mean, because I used to love the green beans. Grandma would set me down and make me snap peas all the time. Oh, the new potatoes and the tomatoes and all that stuff. We don't have the garden anymore, which I'm thinking about that though. Starting that. But I can remember going in, when I always used to bug my grandma, and just because we had that kind of relationship, I would just tease her all the time. And she liked kicking me out of the house and stuff, and she was amazing. They were both amazing people. They lived together, you know, their whole lives. My grandma passed away from a heart attack in '91, and my grandfather was 5 or 6 years later. He was really something. He was a good man. He was one of those, you know, that would give you the shirt off his back. He was that kind of guy. Well, Dad's quite the character. Dad's been here his whole life. Matter of fact, he's lived in a 3-mile, think about that, 3-mile radius his whole life. He wasn't big into sports, but he was always into hauling hay and farming when he was a kid, and hard work, and he's smart. I mean, He's really smart. He can do math in his head. I mean, everybody else is grabbing calculators and stuff, and he can do it right in his head. We basically just raise feeder cattle, steers, and you know, we don't do a cow and calf operation, but we've always just kind of raised steers and raised wheat and a little bit of hay here and there. You know, Dad does the hard part. He has to pay for everything, so he does the hard part. So I just do all the labor. And then one day I'll have to turn around and do the hard part too, but I'll have help from Kathy and everybody else, so not a big deal. I don't sweat that kind of stuff. I just, whatever hits me, I pray on it and we move on. The reason I come back is just to spend as much time I could with my dad, and I just kind of felt, I don't know, I felt a little lost and needed something new, you know? And I just think it was the way that he was, when I say he, I'm talking about God was pulling us back. He had to put us in a position. He had it all lined out. I think it was more of him pulling us back to this, because I've been able to help my father and help some other people around, you know, that need help. But it's also helped us. It's also given us purpose, I guess, you know, and it's just nice. Don't get me wrong, there's days that are just nasty, hot, or things breaking down and everything's so expensive, and you know, we just barely making it. Just you make enough to just keep on going. But with, you know, whenever you love what you do, it's not really a job. So I don't really think of it that way. At first I felt pressure, but I don't feel that anymore. And I just don't. I think that's because Jesus took that away. But I don't feel the pressure of all this stuff. I enjoy it. The hard days are hard days. I kind of shake it off when I get home and don't worry about it. I got 2 little dogs. I love dogs. Always have. Kathy and I always have dogs. So they're kind of like my kids. So I come home and I enjoy them and my wife, and I just let it go and get up in the morning and do it again. I enjoyed my childhood, you know, a lot. and now I'm enjoying my adulthood, and then hopefully I'll enjoy my golden years. In 2031, the farm will be in the family for 100 years. Dad turned 79 this year, so I got to get him till another 8 years, and so he can see the centennial of the farm. I'm getting into that age now where I'm starting to figure a lot of stuff out. I'm a late bloomer. It took me a while. I'm 55, but I'm starting to figure a lot of stuff out.
Like what?
Well, what's more important, it's not I've got a lot. I've been blessed with a lot. I mean, I've got, as far as material things, I've got a lot. And we've got everything that we need, but I'm finding out that what is most important in life is people. And so it's like a new life for me. I'm starting to understand that helping others is where it's at. It gives me joy, and like I said, it gives me a purpose and something to look forward to. And when I'm down or lonely or missing or all them feelings and everything, you know, I can just turn to Jesus and He'll straighten me out. There's nothing like it, getting up in the morning and having your own land to go to, and you look across and you really look at God's beauty and you see all that stuff, and you know, you got the challenges of the day, but you're your own boss. It's freedom. And I'm enjoying the freedom.